You know, we all have a life story, but isn't it weird that for pretty much all of us, the first few chapters are just gone? Let's talk about why our earliest years are a complete and total blank. I mean, really think about it for a second. Your first birthday? You can't remember the cake, right? Or the presents, or any of the faces leaning over you. You know for a fact it happened, but the actual memory? Poof! It's just not there. It feels like someone just ripped the first few pages right out of your own autobiography. And look, if you've ever felt a little strange about that big black hole in your personal history, you are definitely not alone. It's a completely universal human experience. So no, there's nothing wrong with you, you're not broken, you're just human. So it turns out this whole blank slate feeling we all have, it's not just some weird quirk. Science actually has a name for it. It's called childhood amnesia, or sometimes infantile amnesia. And it's not a disorder or a problem, it's a totally standard part of how our memories develop. It's the reason most of us have a memory blackout for the first, say, 3 or 4 years of life. But why does it happen? Well, for a long time, the simplest and most accepted answer was all about biology. Our brains, simply put, just weren't finished baking yet. See, in those first few years, your brain is like a massive construction site. The hippocampus, which you can kind of think of as the brain's save button for events, is still really immature. And the prefrontal cortex, the part that helps you organize and make sense of those memories, is frantically forming all these critical connections. And the result of all that chaos? Those early memories are just super fragile. They just fade away. So the key thing to get here is that it's not like you weren't having experiences. Of course you were. It's just that they were being recorded with a kind of biological disappearing ink. The blueprints were drawn, but they were never meant to last. But here's where it gets really interesting. What if this forgetting isn't just an accident? What if it's not a flaw of an unfinished brain, but is actually part of the design? This idea points to a really fascinating trade-off the infant brain has to make. Its number one job, its top priority, is just insane rapid learning, soaking up language, faces, physics, everything about the world. And this requires a ton of new brain cells to be created, a process called neurogenesis. While some scientists think this intense focus on new learning literally pushes out the old information. It's kind of like a city growing so fast that shiny new skyscrapers are constantly being built where old landmarks used to be. The brain has to prioritize new construction over long-term storage. And this totally reframes the way we think about it. Forgetting isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's the brain being ruthlessly efficient. To handle the absolute tidal wave of new information it needs to function, it has to clear the slate to make room for what's coming next. Okay, but the story does not end there, because the very latest science is suggesting a third theory. And this one is even more mind-bending. What if the memories aren't actually gone at all? You see, for decades, the basic assumption was that babies just couldn't form stable, lasting memories to begin with. But some really groundbreaking new studies are challenging that entire idea from the ground up. This is the huge shift in thinking. Is it an encoding problem, meaning the memory file was corrupted from the start, or maybe never even saved? Or is it a retrieval problem, meaning the file is saved perfectly, but we've just lost the password or the map to find it? All the newest evidence is pointing toward that second option. So get this. Researchers at Yale used fMRI scans to literally watch infant brains while they looked at new images. And they found that the hippocampus, that save button we talked about, was totally active. It was encoding specific memories. In fact, the more active it was, the more likely the baby was to recognize that image later. So the files are being saved. The theory is that as our brain grows and completely reorganizes itself, we just lose the original filing system we used to store them. Which leaves us with this incredible final thought. What if your earliest memories aren't a blank page? What if they're more like a locked archive, saved in a language you can no longer speak, still shaping who you are today in ways you can never, ever consciously remember?